Securities lending and short selling are innovations expected to enhance the market-making program of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. However, progress on these initiatives have been slow since they were announced over a year ago. To discuss this and other programs of the bourse, I am now joined by Haruna Jallo Waziri, Executive Director of Business Development at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Haruna, thank you so much for joining us today on our show. And I think maybe we can start by trying to understand the outstanding issues, why securities lending hasn't taken off just yet. Can you just talk us through the issues? Because I do know that the Stock Exchange has, of course, announced this program. Some training programs have been organized for stockbrokers. So why haven't we seen it take off yet?
Thank you for having me, Wale. When we introduced market making, we appointed primary market makers and put the structure in place around how they will function. One of the things that was missing was securities lending. We had proposed to the SEC in terms of the regulation around securities lending, which they had approved. We've just sent an amendment proposal, which they also are looking at to ensure that it's working end to end. However, with the securities lending, you have to have certain inventory that, people that would, rather institutions that will give you inventory. One of those institutions is actually the AMCON. AMCON has just sent an RFP to the approved SLAs, which have also sent an application to ensure that they participate in it. And the way we structure it is that the SLAs will on-lend to the market makers rather than the other way directly, because the risk involved around our structure is slightly higher than other markets. So yes, we are putting everything in place. We are almost at the final point. We're likely to see significant progress in a few weeks.
All right, so hopefully by the third quarter, this should be on track.
Oh yes, definitely.
I will look forward to that. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the role that the lenders will be playing. Of course, you just mentioned AMCON, but is it just AMCON we can anticipate to participate in this? Because we do have quite a few institutional investors that hold significant investments and securities in quite a few companies that are not likely to sell anytime soon, and one can assume that those securities should be available for securities lending as well.
Yes, you have to start something first for others to actually participate. People want to see that it works very well before they participate. AMCON seems to be the one that has been most proactive in terms of, one of the lenders that will on-lend to the SLAs. So we've been concentrating more on AMCON. We've been talking to other institutional investors to actually begin to put the structure in place for them to lend to the SLAs, who in turn will now lend to the market makers. Effort is being made, yes.
Okay, so when we do see takeoff, what can we expect? There's talk of short selling. I think people will be able to bet on either side of the market when that starts. So are these things we can anticipate to happen in the second half of this year?
Definitely, we're looking forward to that. We're looking towards that. And also because, when you talk about the lenders, the biggest, portfolio holders in the stock market are PFAs. And by law, the PFCs are not allowed to lend securities. And that's why we had a slowdown and focus on those institutional investors as well as the AMCON, who has probably one of the largest chunks based on what they're doing currently in the market.
Right. Okay. We look forward to that. But talk to us about other things you're doing. Clearly, there's a 5-year program of the Nigerian Stock Exchange to get all kinds of other securities listed on the market. We know that you've made significant progress with your bond program, but that, many people also will argue, hasn't really kicked off like it should. We do know you have a program, but in terms of the actual trading of bonds, it has also been slow recently.
When you introduce something new in the market, tendency is that before it picks up with the velocity, it takes a bit of time and a bit of education and understanding. Prior to now, equities have always been traded in the market. People still don't believe that, there's trading of bonds currently going in the market. So it's an awareness campaign that's going on, both from inside and outside the exchange. And we are making progress. We're seeing trades being done on a significant basis compared to where we started. But yes, a lot of more effort has to be done. What we need to do is involve the PFAs in our market and ask them to start market to market, their portfolios based on our pricing, because there's a price discovery there. Once that is done, you're likely to see inflows into the market, and we're working on that as well.
Right. What about the listing program, where everyone is still hoping to see a few new companies listed? Many people are hoping that we'll see an IPO this year. We haven't seen much of that yet as well.
I agree with you. There is a program ongoing. We're talking to at least 1,000 companies in different stages, like I mentioned earlier, some interview we did. But you see, the process of listing internally within the mechanism of a company takes a little bit longer than we normally think. Shareholders have to be brought in, conversion to IFRS to be done, approvals has to be gotten from both SEC and CAC in terms of capital increase and the rest of it. We're seeing quite a bit of momentum. Yes, we've not listed, but we're likely to list quite a few this year.
How close are we? Third quarter, fourth quarter? What's your guess?
Within the next 2 quarters, you're likely to see some listing. I can't give you a number right now because it's dependent on both the companies and other externals and the process of IFRS conversion, but we're almost getting there.
Right, fair point, but which sectors though? You mentioned you're talking to perhaps 1,000 companies. Could we possibly see an oil and gas company listed? What is your guess on that point?
You're likely to see oil and gas companies listed before the end of the year. You're going to see some ASM listings. You're going to see some, in trade and industrials and the rest of them. Yeah.
All right. You just mentioned the ASM program. I think that's a very interesting area. SME companies getting involved in the NSE, and of course I don't know that the NSE had a program to prepare them for that as well. Can you just run us through the latest on that point?
ASM is the alternative securities market, which used to be called Securities, Second-tier Securities market. We've just relaunched it. We've rejigged what they call the listing requirements to make it very attractive for small industries, small cap companies. We're beginning to see momentum also in that. We're supposed to list one company in the next few weeks. The company has been given approval to list. That will be the first listing in the ASM since we launched it. But on that, we are working with SMEDAN and other stakeholders to ensure that the environment for small cap companies is actually right in terms of waivers, taxation, and the rest of it, so that I encourage them to come and list in the market. We're working on that significantly, and we're getting some traction from both the government side and our side in terms of where we are. And there's a significant interest, especially from small cap companies who just want to come and list their companies and get access to the capital markets without having to spend so much money or spend so much time in post-listing requirements of our exchange.
All right, Jallo, final point for me would be the plans to upgrade the trading platform. Can you just give us an update on that as well? I know that's one of the major programs of the stock exchange.
Oh, surely we're on track on that. Testing is ongoing. We are going to meet our target of third quarter this year, and other stakeholders within the system are actually testing the system, and we're on track on that. Definitely on track on that.